Good morning, everyone. Thank you also as continue as the last minute that I give a message to Sister Selling that today I also can try to give my sharing before BroJoe. And thank you for BroJoe. Spare some time for give me some time to do the sharing first. Actually, I think I also need to be more practice on trying to speak in English and how to share our master's teaching in English. So at first, and I think it's brother just helping me to show the PPT right now. Okay，我有一个那个什么那个 show 那个，等一下那个
哦，两边的吗？
对，
两边的不行哦。
哦 ，OK。
我是投影才有。
哦 ，OK， 好，
这样可以吗？
好，这样好。Okay, actually, first of all, and the Buddha in his wisdom, he knew that in the future, when the five turbidities intensify, and these man-made calamities will be even more severe. Therefore, the Buddha will establish many ways to help us. So in this chapter 3, the parable of the burning house, actually is telling us that we human being, will have a deluded because of the ignorance, and we create a lot of negative karma. So, as living being creates a deluded karma in ignorance. What are they? Actually, Master is telling us that we create karma because of certain kinds of afflictions, which is connected to our external conditions. And what are these afflictions are? Actually, this is quite familiar for everyone, that we know that we always listen Master saying we human beings are tended to greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, and doubt. And this is what in Buddha's term is a fundamental delusion, which is also called the five chronic afflictions. Yeah, is slowly it takes time for years to accumulate our habitual tendencies. And the other one is the will of acute afflictions, and the will of self, extreme will, or deviate wills, stubborn will, and the will of deviate precepts. These are the inner part of our personal behavior, and which is it will drive us to when we get attached to the external condition. So it brings us to greed, anger, or delusion, and so on and so forth. So as we humans are very easily enticed by things in our external conditions, such as this, we craving for meat, or for fish, or for some delicious delight foods, which is contains animals' life. So I think that's why the Buddha cited various the birds as an analogy for human tendencies, and this is as past few days ago when masters are telling us this is what the sutra scriptures mention about this, and this is what the Buddha is telling us. We must be awareness of this, because we human beings are having a quite similar tendency, habitual, with the animals, whether it's the birds are flying on sky, or whether it's walking on the ground. Yeah. And that's why they point out the 8 kinds of pride and the 7 kinds of arrogance. And with this, I'm not going to share all these 8 kinds of birds scriptures, but at first I want to share with this. This is the first kind of bird, which is the arrogance of strength. It's like a kind. And those who believe their own strength is a great, while others are weak and are like kinds. They see themselves as strong and others as weak. So thus, they have the arrogance and of strength. And this is kind of like what Masters mentioned this morning for the teaching, is regarding when we look at our human being and the animal, when we, we want to eat their milk to just want to sustain our life from the animal's life. This is how we human beings treat ourselves like a bird, and we are flying on the sky, and the animals, which is their weakness, they are human being. So this is how cruel our human being act to these pure poor animals, which is they can't speak the human language. They can't, ask for help from human being, please, to let go of their life and, like just don't eat them. So let's have a short video for this video clip regarding this is a chicken or hens or laying hens, because we want to eat their meat, or because we want to, to take their eggs for our, the food. And this is how people, human, that we think that we are, stronger and we are mighty than the animals. And this is what we want to tend to get the milk from the animals. And this is we're craving for dairy products for our own purposes. And this is how we torture the animals. Yeah, and you can see this is how cruel our human being act for. Yeah, and this kind of things is happened not in this field cancer. I think it's all 100 years ago, or or even more for human being. And another script, you can see the pig. This is how we raise all these livestock, and finally they provide, they sacrifice themselves and to just fulfill our craving for this kind of texture, sense of eating. So this is very high tech. They are using, not like in the ancient time, maybe, when you slaughter an animal, maybe just one or two animals. But now here you can see, that's why Masters always mention in a second, how many thousands of lives been, killed by human being. And finally, all these products, what you get from the market, and finally come to become a delightful that people think that, and it's delicious and they eat it. And this is how we human act to the animals, and this is how. So okay, this is final product, and the animals sacrifice themselves. Yeah. So, and thus, as Masters mentioned, actually, or even though in the Lotus Sutra, this mentioned that our karma is as strong, is as tremendous as the Mount Sumeru, and as deep as the great ocean, because we are accumulate our negative karma, so that we are, having not a smooth path for our way to go. That's why we suffer from a lot of illness and some disease. And this is, we can see now. And so the Buddha Dharma is inseparable from the world. So it's around the world and telling you what's happening. And that's why the Buddha always, even though our masters keep telling us, you can see the scenario happen surrounding you, and everything, every happen to you, there's a Dharma within it. So include this kind of things of various forms and the colors in our surrounding, which is they are enticing us, to take action and to raise all these animals, or to kill them, or to do some delightful. And we so creative and to do all these things, just want to fulfill our needs. But we are end up is we are torture the animal's life. And in the summary, just I want to recall back this morning what Masters finally give us the remind. She's mentioned that if we are mindfully observe the ways of life and the environments of beasts and insects, we feel sympathy for them. But when the heavenly, in other way, when the heavenly beings look at our lives, they also feel sympathy for us, how we human being treat the animals. So that's why our master say that all the Buddhas or Bodhisattvas look at heavenly beings, humans, and animals. We are all deserving of their sympathy. So we should make an effort to contemplate this meticulously and in a great detail. So this is my sharing, and I end my sharing. So now I pass the time to Brother Joe. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time as well. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Master DeHuang, for the sharing and for the teaching in the morning. Indeed, just like what Master said this morning, yeah, it was. Look at all the little chick that were and the cows, and sometimes just like what Master said, I think there was one example about the dung beetle and how they were living in the filth, and that's what they're eating. All the dirtiest and the waste from human beings, and that's what they eat, and that's what they live in, and that's and they are actually enjoying it. That's their life, right? So, okay, all right. Let me bring up my PPT here. I didn't realize Master was going to be done in 10 minutes. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Master. And let me bring up what I have prepared before. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Okay, so this is something that I thought was important. Okay, so some of you might have already heard this on the Sunday morning sharing, but this is how I felt. So Master Cheng Yen, we sent over these Jing aphorism books to Mozambique, and what they did was they said that instead of receiving these books, they said that they had received the entire school. And look at the news. When they received this, they were so happy. And not only were they so happy, immediately that day, they began to have their study group to study the contents of the Jing aphorism. And what they get were these, boxed up, each one of them, each set has about 6 of them. And these are all Jing aphorism. It has English, Chinese, Portuguese. And the insert drawings in there were actually all done according to the African culture. So it wasn't just our copies. It wasn't just our design, Chinese design, and then changing the language to their language. No, it was from their perspective. It was from what they're used to. Our drawings were all changed to fit the cultures of Africa. So it wasn't just Chinese language and then Portuguese, and it wasn't Chinese little people in there that looks Chinese. No, it's actually African. But this is what we sent over, and what they instead saw were these were schools, and it just amazed me why they saw it that way. Why is it that when they got were books, but what they saw were schools? And I believe that what they see more than just a book. They see more than just pages of words. They see more than just phrases. And I think that's true. When we chant Wu Liang Yi Jing, the Sutra of Infinite Meanings, I don't think that we are just chanting the sutra. I don't think that we're just reading out the words. I don't think that we're just, especially when the words comes to 静寂清晨自显虚无. Every time you chant that, it can't just be words. It's more than just words. So this is the same thing. The book that got to them, it wasn't just these aphorisms that helped them and say, wow, this is very true. It's not just that. It goes far, far beyond that. There is emotion, there is sentiment attached to that. But they also see hope. Why is it that they see hope? Because they're not looking with their eyes. They're not looking with their eyes. Everything that you look, if you only look with your eyes, then that's what you see. But they're looking with their hearts, so that when they see this book, it's not just the book that they see, because they're looking with their hearts. And that's when Master said, be more mindful. That's what it means. So what do you see right now, right? Do you see, what do you see when we were given these books? What do you see? For example, you see Master sitting here, and you see, you probably didn't see, but they have notes. They have, they did a lot of notes and a lot of homework. That's what you see with your eyes. But if you're looking with your hearts, and if you're listening with your hearts, Master DeHuang said in the very first part that she began, she said she wanted to practice. And at first you think, practice? What do you mean practice? And the meaning is that Master wanted to make sure that Master could spread the Dharma in a different language. That's why she needed practice. And if you look and if you listen with your hearts, you will be moved and touched, because it's not just, oh, time is here, it's Saturday morning, let me do my part. It's not. It's more than just that. So that's why Master always wants us to be mindful, because only when you're mindful are you able to see things that are not there. Only are you mindful that you're able to see things that's truly there. Okay, so that's why I always said that if you look at Master Cheng Yen, right, her eyes, she had just gone through, surgeries on her eye. Last year, if you remember, in Cyclone Idai, right, Master had surgeries on her eye, and just recently, there was also another surgery too. So her eyes aren't doing well, and many times, if it's too bright or if it's too close or too far, she can't see well. So if she can't see well with her eyes, then how does she see things more in detail than we do when we have better eyes and better vision? That tells you it wasn't the eyes that's truly looking. It's the heart that is looking, okay? So this is the other story that I also share on Sunday morning. This was our doctor, the superintendent of the optometrist of the department in Taipei Hospital, Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital. And she had shared this story a year ago or 2 years ago to Master, how that there are parasites, how she found the parasite. And she found the parasite. At first, no one knew that there was there were living these parasites on your, not the brow, very close to your eyes. And at first, she collected the samples and asked her student to run the exams and check it under the microscope. And her student did, but couldn't find anything. And to her, she just thought, how is it possible that there wasn't anything meaningful coming out of the microscopic exam? So she did it herself, and then she saw these moving parasites. So the question that I had was, well, they had the same set of eyes, yet they look at different things, right? Yet the teacher saw things the student didn't. Why? It's not because her eyes are bigger than the others. No, it's never the case that the bigger the eyes, the more things you see. It's never the case. But it's how much mind and heart you put into it, right? Imagine this, right? You were told by your teacher to do something. That's what the student did. But the teacher herself What was the goal of checking under the microscope? It was for the patient. And that was a shift of perspective that allowed her to really want to do more for the patient. Okay, so that's what she did. And the accolade that comes after that was that she shared that day, and it was really moving and stunning to me. Was she said on that year, the most prestigious forums in Thailand invited her to speak this research, to speak of this research and to speak of this this medical research twice in the same year. And this was a every half year they have this forum, twice in the same year and on the same topic. And so the doctor, Dr. Shen, said that how likely is it that she understood if she were invited once, but then she was invited twice in the same year. And not only that, but they asked her to share her research, the same research again. So you see that people put in the weight. People really wanted more to really want a doctor to share with her peers what she found. But similarly, what do we see from this? Yes, the story we see with our eyes, we hear with our ears. Yes, the book and the school, we look at it with our eyes and we hear with our ears. But what do we truly see? Is the heart, is it visible? Can I take out my heart and can you see it? You can't. So the only thing when we say be mindful, can you see the heart? No, you can't. But what can you see? You can see the actions. You can see the words. You can see the dedication. Those are the things that you can see. And from the things that you can see, you will be able to see the things you can't. And that's what these stories are about. From the things that you can see, the Jing aphorism, the fact that they came from all the way from Taiwan, the fact that there are Portuguese and Chinese and English in them so that they could learn the Chinese, they could learn the English. These are all out there for them to see. The fact that our brothers and sisters have been in Mozambique for all these years. The fact that since 2019, since Cyclone Idai, that we haven't left. Those are all out there for you to see. Because of that, they are able to see the things that they can't see. So pay attention and be mindful to see the things that you can see, and then you will be able to see the things that you can't see. And that's what I got out of this. So what do we see? What do we get today? We hear the things, we hear Master's teaching, we hear the very short stories here from Mozambique. We hear the stories about Dr. Shen. That's what we hear. But do you hear the things that you do not hear? Do you see the things that you do not see? That's the question. Okay, so we still have some time. We're gonna go into questions and answers. So last week we already gone through some of the questions that were already asked, and there were many backlog questions. So I really want to get through some of them today. The question is, can you help to explain the difference between the relative wisdom and perfect wisdom? So this was dated back in October 21st. So I'm sorry, we're already backed up more than, almost 2 months, more than a month. Okay, so this is the difference, perfect and relative, right? Perfect wisdom. It's a very solid understanding of Dharma. Okay, very solid understanding of Dharma. And relative wisdom is adapting to the situation to match the needs of the sentient beings. So perfect understanding of the Dharma. Imagine, I always like to see it this way, right? So what does that mean? What does that mean? Can you imagine, right? You have all the river, all the streams and the river and the, all the water that you have on the land, right? and they all flow to where? They all flow to the ocean. And the ocean is vast, it's huge, right? It's a huge body of water that's taking most part on Earth, right? But can you drink from the ocean? You can't. You can't. You take it, you drink it, you're gonna be like, spit it out right away. Why? Because it's salty, right? So it's the same thing. I believe that perfect wisdom, you know, like all the sutra, all the writings in the sutra, or all the things that were said by the Buddha, you can't drink them directly because it's too hard. It's too fixed. Like the sutras, you can memorize them, but that's just that. You can't drink it directly. But what you can drink instead are the regular water that's in the river, or that's coming out of our water pipes. Those are the water you can drink. Why? Because they have been treated. They have been adapted to our needs. That's relative wisdom. So perfect wisdom is the original, you know, the original source of all the water. And that's for now, assume it to be the ocean, the biggest body of water on Earth. But you can't drink it directly. It's too tough. You always needed some examples to show this. And that's where adaptation comes in, and that's relative, right? So perfect is this general direction, like the biggest body of water on Earth is ocean, right? But relative wisdom is the things that we can actually use, right? So for example, you know, perfect wisdom, it tells you go east. And then relative wisdom tells you, well, let me tell you how you get there, right? You now know that's the direction. And now let me tell you, according to the topography, or according to the geography, you can take the bus for the first hour, and then take the train, and then you walk, and then you bike. Whatever it is, it tells you how. So that's the relative. That's something that we can use, okay? So there are these two dramas. Why? That's really, really similar, right? So I think according to what I understand is that especially with this part, with all these the Dharma Master series, and the reason is that, first of all, when Dai TV went to look for these ancient Dharma masters, the great Dharma masters in history, when they were doing that, they found a lot of people, and one of the particular one was Liu Zu Huineng. And obviously, Liu Zu Huineng, and you would also have to talk about Wu Zu, right? So all these great Dharma masters, their teachers are also likely to be great Dharma masters. And if they have, you know, Dharma brothers and sisters, it's also likely that they are great Dharma masters. So you can see the same story or the same history happen from different perspectives. So in the case of Liu Zu Huineng, I think it was her Dharma brother, right? SisYean, which also became the Great Dharma Master series later on. So that's why it's not two series going back to back. It's actually two different series. Okay. Now I want to get to this question before the end. What are the 7 treasures in the cart that Master mentioned in the Wisdom at Dawn? And this was also dated back October 23rd. Okay, so this is the excerpt. Now, these young children are all my children, and I love them all impartially. I have these great cards covered with the 7 treasures, countless in number. So what are the 7? Yes, you can go back, and if you are following Zao Ke, where we have Pu Menping every, these couple of days, you will also get to know what are the 7, because it's also mentioned in there as part of the gift to Guanxin Pusa. But what are the 7? To me, to be honest, I don't remember what the 7 are. But I believe, just like perfect and relative, your 7 treasures in your life aren't the same as the 7 treasures in my life. And that's very true. 7 treasures, if you want me to list them out as said in the book or as said in the sutra, it would be called the perfect wisdom. That's what it's written. That's what it was said by the Buddha. But as you all know, our economy and finance will fluctuate, right? So certain things like petroleum, 20 years ago, there were wars. There were, the entire economy goes into a recession because of petroleum, because of oil. Now, not so big of a deal. So the treasures change according to time. The treasures change according to people, according to the need. That's relative. So I would like to say that the great cards covered with 7 treasures are the 7 treasures that you think are the most important. So for all of us, we might say health, we might say family, we might say friends. It might not even be the 7 treasures that's written in the sutra. And the great cards, that covers with 7 treasures. Now, if I want you to write down 7 things that you think are very important, that you would like to have on the great cards, you might begin with, as we said, right? Or, compassion, wisdom. These are the things that you might write down as the 7 treasures in your card. And that's what the Buddha is providing to us. That's what the master is providing to us. That master thinks that other than the material possessions, you should also have these 7 treasures. And master had already packed the great cards, prepare for us the 7 treasures. Now, the 7 treasures that we all are going to need. And thanks to Master DeHuang, who actually went online to figure out what the 7 treasures actually are. And they are, okay, right. They are what they are. I'm not gonna repeat them. But the important thing is, I really think that that's what Master did for us. The cart were ready outside when the children came out. So Master always said, open the path, pave the road. That's what the Buddha did. The cards were already there with the 7 treasures, countless in number, ready for the children. That's what the master did for us. Tzu Chi was already there when we come in. The path were already there. The cards were already there. The things that master want us to learn were already there on the card. All that is necessary for us to do is to take it and to learn from it. That's what I think the 7 treasures are. I shouldn't say I don't care, but I really do not put in a very, very, I do not put the 7 treasures as very important in my mind. But I think there are indeed 7 treasures in my heart that master wants us to learn. And these 7 treasures are constantly changing. They're constantly changing from time to time. And so because from time to time, it shifts in its importance. So I think that's what the true 7 treasures are, even though they all have their meanings. But I think the true 7 treasures, according to us, are what we needed at the time and our objectives and goals, compassion and wisdom and, Dharma and family and health and etc. Time, these are all things that you can't possibly put in the physical cards. And I really believe that in the parable of the burning house, there isn't a burning house that's really burning. It's all in a parable. It's all in our mind. But if you can see it, it's not a burning house for you to see. But if you can see all the things around you, then you will be able to see the things that's not there, which is the burning house, and you will be able to see it. Okay, so it's quite cryptic, but it's also interesting, right? So thank you. That's the sharing for today, and I hope that we got through this morning's sharing just fine. And we're gonna now shift over to Sister Xiaoqing, who will now share with us the second part. Thank you.
And utmost gratitude, Master DeHuang and BroJoe for the most wonderful morning insights. Amazing, amazing. Yes, today we are very grateful to have with us Sister Yan Ping. She is well, truly looking at today's morning 寻法香. Do not get lost in ignorance, unaware. Of course, that's not Sister Yan Ping. In fact, it's the opposite. Sister Yan Ping is one who walked with the right Dharma path to create pure lives wherever she goes, in the family, in career, as well as Tzu Chi. She's our role model, her Chi Zuza, ever very diligent and mindful, one with a right mindfulness. At what Brother Joe asked, how much heart and mind one puts it in. Later we will hear from Sister Yan Ping, okay, of her journey. Okay, over to you, Sister Yan Ping. We look forward.
Morning, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Okay, today's sharing actually is about my journey in Tzu Chi, and then my Yuan, how I walk this Bodhisattva path. Okay, look at this picture. This is my boyfriend. Actually not. This is my son. My son Hauser. He is 24 years old. He was a child from Mars. Why I say so? Because in 1996, when Hauser came into my life, actually he seems not interested everything in this earth except the spinning object. So
好意思，燕平之前你的visual 看
哪一个？
看不到你，
看不到什么？
你要开你的 video， 我看到刚才这样。
哦，看到吗？
看好 ，OK， 好，改，继续
Okay.
continue。
Okay, sorry. So he's only interested in the spinning object. He can look at the spinning people. He was non-verbal until 2 years old. Because for the long period of time, about 2 years, he could not express himself. So then can we imagine if for 2 years we cannot self, so how will we feel? So then he actually, at that period of time, very bad-tempered. He crying all the time. So he's easily so-called very sad, and then badly is he has this self-injured. He always knock his head to the floor and even to the glass door in our this living hall, and then he not sleeping at night. So what should I do? The first child in my life, then the first time become a mother. Why I was special child? My husband's sister, he's a doctor. He so-called give us this warning, saying that Hauser have this autism, to go for the diagnosis. When Hauser was 2 years old, he was diagnosed and confirmed is an autist. At that time, I asked, why me? Why me? Actually, I learned Dharma when I was in university since 1989. I understand or I know the teaching of Buddha, then I know the law of karma, then I so-called, I think but when this so-called this impermanent happened in my life, all the Dharma I understand, but I cannot apply it. I still can't let go of it deep in my heart. By teaching the normal child to talk and or to learn something which is simple, so maybe they can learn it after you teaching them for 3 times or 2 times. But Hauser, I had to teach 100 times. So this scenario is keep on happening when I sit with him in the table. So I will start teaching him with a low voice. Then after that, will increase to the high voice. Then after that, I will uncontrollable and not on the table, and scream to him, because he can't learn after teaching more than 100 times. My husband asked me to time off. Then he brought me for a lot of meditation course. Then I engaged myself in a 1-year Satya family therapy. All these solutions I learned, but it's still not thoroughly so-called open up my heart until I met Tzu Chi in year 2007. I participated in the Send Love to the KKB Hospital for the Disabled when I saw those child lying on the bed, and then they cannot manage themselves at all. So especially when I saw this 5 years old child, his name is Henry. He was dropped by the parent from the 8 stories in the high place to the floor. So then he became disabled. The whole body cannot move unless the eyes, so then it can so-called blinking only. When I saw this child, I asked, why child deserve for this? So now immediately the teaching of Buddha, the impermanent, the law of karma, now is not understanding, is a realization. The Jing aphorism told us, in knowing one's blessing, one should cherish the blessing and create blessings. After this KKB hospital visitation, Send Love, I went back home. When I driving my car, I reached in front of my house. I make pee-pee, then I saw Hauser happily come out and open the gate door for me. Immediately, I break into tears. I can't control myself because I say, why should I keep on complaining about Hauser? He just is a slow learner, but he can take care of himself. He still can go to school. He even can call me mommy. And then the most important, he is healthy. Since 2 years old, Hauser was started with the ABA program, intensive ABA, 1 week, 40 hours intervention. So then he was so-called trained to have these the basic ability to enter the normal school. In this primary school, he's still can say safe and then happy. But when he entered to the secondary school, so then it's not an easy life. Almost about every week or every month, I get call from teacher say Hauser was getting bullied in the school, until one day in this 2011, Hauser was sexually abused. So when I knew this thing, I was in this Yu I was in the activity of Tzu Chi. So my husband told me, I told him, said, I knew this last night from Hauser. I said, I will go to the school and discuss with the school. My husband said, we should sue the person. But immediately I say, no. Why? Because teaching of Master told us, forgive others is treat ourselves well. 原谅自己，原谅别人就是善待自己。This is a true Dharma, unless we practice it. Then, Master also told us, there must be a view of impermanence during good times, but the most important, when we're facing difficulty, we must view from the view of cause and condition. Case happened, so the whole community they started this community caring. Every night, the 师兄师姐 they take turn to come to my house, to accompany Hauser to play with him, and then this brother Sư Bo also every Friday come to my house to fetch him to the recycling center. Before that, he refused to go. So then another one is because this case, so then I decided to transfer him to the special school in Putrajaya. But from Sedang to Putrajaya, actually no buses to go. So because I need to work, morning I can send him there, but how to come back from this special school from Putrajaya. So in the parent day, first day, I met the parents, I asked around, I say, anyone stay in Sedang? But nobody answered me. But suddenly there was one sound, you say, adakah anda tinggal di Sedang? Are you stay in Sedang? Maybe I can help. So I look back here, oh, actually this is a Malay guy. Oh, he's wearing the Haji cap. So then I asked him, say, oh, you stay in Sedang. Where do you stay? He said, I stay in Hospital Sedang. I said, oh, Hospital Sedang. I say, you are staff? Yeah, he said, I was staff. I said, oh, which department you work? He said, in Bilik Mayat. I said, oh, Bilik Mayat, 2 weeks ago, I was there. Did you see me? He said, not really, because so many people. Why I say like this? Because at that period of time, our community actually take care of one road accidents cases. This case. 2 weeks ago, about 12:20 midnight. So my this 慈善干涉 the charity person in charge called me saying that this Mrs. Fang passed away. So then quickly I changed Tzu Chi uniform and went to the hospital Sedang and give treatment and assist the family to arrange all the funerals. Then I was in this Bilik Mayat. From this incident actually again strengthened my faith. Master told us helping others actually is to help ourselves, is to cultivate this blessing and good karma for ourselves. When we're willing to help other people, so the people which is willing to help us will always around. In this 2011, this is a 4-in-1 training camp, 四合一, this 营队, I went back to participate. So I still remember about to Master asked me how old is he. So then the most important, this Master told me, 你要感恩他. Master said, you shall 感恩 this child. Yes, after these 12 years in Tzu Chi, I look back, I shall very 感恩好者. He is the one who so-called create this good condition for me to walk the Bodhisattva path. And then he is also the person who give me the opportunity to practice the 6 paramis. I understand that purify people's heart cannot be delayed. We must not only teach our child well, but also help more disadvantaged children in the community. So because Master said, if we only take care of our child and others people, children are not taking well, they are misbehaved, our child actually is not safe. They, like the meat in the mouth of tiger, it will be eaten. Since that, I actively participating in this happy school program, 幸福校园, go into the school and share with the school. Besides helping those underprivileged children, we share Tzu Chi's this 8 missions. Schools have implemented the classroom bamboo bank. So, for example, like this SMK Sekembangan, they have total 3,600 children that practice this bamboo bank, and also this SJKT Sedang. Also, we share about this environment protection. So then this school, they set up the recycling center in their school. Then also, next slide. We also handle this tuition class for the special needs children. Those children, they are about to be expelled by the school. All right, next. From all these make me realize the world. If we change our love from this small love to great love, the world, it will be so wide. Both of us, we love the Mother Earth. Next, 来快快打. So then also 来快打 another slide. Then we also recruit some more Tzu Chi donors by always when I visit my Tzu Chi donor. So if he willing to follow, I will bring him along. So he can help me to arrange this donor receipt. Right, next. Then he my best assistant at home. He in charge of the laundry of the whole family. Next. Then we have this charity visit. He always loves to follow. Next. Next. 快快打好，时间有限哦。So this 2015 the most serious this flood in Malaysia. So it made me realize that peace is the greatest happiness. All right. So 2015 this East Coast flood relief. This is Makcik No Hayati. He so-called tightly hold my hand. He said, I didn't expect when this disaster happened. So actually Chinese come to help me. Next. From this, the whole involvement in this flood area for 12 days, I realized that Satu Malaysia is not a slogan, but it's an action. What is a valuable life? Life has no ownership, Master told us, only the right to use. In 2013, when I decided to 承担和气组长, I told my director, I say, Murai-san, I need to have more time in my voluntary work. So actually, my colleagues all know I'm the Tzu Chi volunteer. In my company, we have more than 70 of them are the permanent donor since 10 years ago. So including my director and until my cleaner. So I say I can't give more time to the company. From now onwards, I do not seek for any promotion, salary increase, or these bonuses. Because, why? Because I realize time is precious. So then I need to spend more time in this bodhisattva path. Family, what is the greatest protection for the family? Next slide. So is to invite them or create a condition, let them walk the bodhisattva path too. These are my daughters. These are my another daughters. And then this is my mother. Now I'm waiting for my husband. So life is not necessarily smooth. However, a strong experience, he think is always ready to take the right. 我的那个 slide 其实还有的哦，师姐，没有时间了是吗？Actually, this 2020, this pandemic, actually give us a very big realization. 大宅教育上来说哈。So, as these bodhisattva practitioners, we grab all the opportunity to do whatever we can. During this pandemic, I get the opportunity to be serviced as this translator in this isolation camp to translate to those POS. We call is a person under surveillance come back from Wuhan. Then also, of course, in same as all the brothers sisters, we participated in this CBI and also the cash giveaway. So in this cash giveaway, the most important besides give the cash, we need to promote the vegetarianism. The vegetarianism, 上人 said, is the 灵方妙药, is the most important. It must be done always to remind us. This community recently we have launched the program is Healthier Me Challenge 21. So this Gan En, we have opportunity to work with Tima. So then this program actually, if you have the opportunity to listen to our this graduation sharing last week, the participants all have significant health improvement. We hope through this so-called 深度化, so this 劝述, so then we can build up the so-called deep confidence to our these participants. Myself, in this 30th of October, when after listening to this 国际师兄 sharing, he told us that from the this statistic chart, this ovo-lacto 蛋奶素 1 year the CO2 emission, so actually is this 1,750 compared to this non-vegetarian, they are 2,000 plus. So it's a cut down for 50%, but it still have 1,750 grams per year. But a vegan, so the CO2 relief is only 275. At that time, immediately I look at this figure, my heart dropped, my tear drops. I have been this ovo-lacto for 12 years. When I met Tzu Chi, I immediately became a vegetarian, but I still take eggs and these dairy products. From that day onwards, I vow I want to let go the eggs and this dairy product to become a complete vegetarian that is a vegan. And also because of this Healthier 21 program, so then we smoothly go through these 21 days habitual eating so-called method. So now we already on path as a vegan. We no more have this 2 yuan with the chickens and this cow, and then want to totally, completely don't want to so-called part of it to assist this we call the animal farming animal. Gan En today's this sharing. So 人生未必棒棒是好球，但是一个有理念的强打者，他随时会棒。By practicing master and this Buddha's teaching in our life, actually is for us to become so-called ever ready to face any challenges. 感恩。
师姐，非常感恩你这么样的一个感动的分享。你好燕萍，真的妈妈的这一份爱就已经非常非常的不容易，然后你还能够将这一份的小爱扩大为大爱，去帮助更多的人，还有其他的孩子。那我们学佛最大的好处就是相信因缘果报那我们知道了因缘果报之后，也上人在讲的就是遇到了我们就怎么样的去欢喜接受欢喜还打8折，不欢喜还还要再加利息。 然后也是懂得去怎么样对它、接受它、处理它，然后再来放下它那相信你已经走出来了那人生的幸福不在于名与利，而在于人与人之间的关爱与情谊。对，那你也做到了。那人生不一定时时是好球，但有历练的强打者时时可以挥棒。那相信在你的人生经历当中相信以后遇到了这样的事情，我们也相信你能够比别人更有信心，还有比别人更有勇气，能够走这一条菩萨道，除了自利还能够利益更多的人。真的非常感恩你今天给予我们的分享感恩非常受用。
感恩师父的启勉，感恩师父。
感恩哦继续努力哦感恩
感恩师父。